Hello everyone, it's Lee Henkin here. Thanks for checking out this video. So I'm going to dive straight into it. This video is going to be all about cold email personalization, okay? And what I think, in my opinion, just based on my experience, what I think is the best cold email lead generation personalization strategy. And it's one that at least in my many years doing outbound lead gen, cold email in particular, it's one that has just stood the test of time and still works despite all the software and innovations, AI, all that stuff. Okay, so this is a personalization strategy that I think will continue to work well into the future, regardless of technological innovations, basically. So that's what this is all going to be about. It's going to be about that particular personalization strategy that you can pretty much start using right away. So depending on how familiar you are with cold email, how long you've been doing cold email, um, things always tend to change with personalization strategies. At the end of the day, personalizing emails is a tactic. Okay, it's not a fundamental part of Legion. It's literally a tactic with the aim to get a boost in positive response rates. Okay, and because of that, there's always a lot of different technological innovations, particularly around AI in the last couple of years, really since 2022, basically. So I've seen a lot of different stuff in this domain. Okay, now when it comes to personalization, I've tried a lot of stuff over the last few years. I've tried various tools, not going to name any in particular, but I've tried kind of custom first line AI tools where they just generate a first line based on a LinkedIn profile, website, all that kind of stuff. I've tried stuff using Clay, that has a bit more elaborate AI prompts with it, different stuff like that. So there's a lot of different stuff I've tried, but in my opinion, this particular personalization strategy, at least from my experience, honestly works better and it's actually easier to apply than relying on AI tools. So, what is it? What's this particular personalization strategy I'm talking about? It's persona based personalization. So, what does that mean and what is it? So, it's pretty simple. So, persona based personalization is when you personalize your cold email outreach. And this honestly applies to any kind of cold outreach, whether it's LinkedIn or whatever, around commonalities for a particular group of people or a persona. Okay. So a persona, for example, could be like marketing directors at B2B SaaS companies, marketing managers at B2B SaaS companies, heads of marketing, stuff like that. So it could be that's like a persona. Okay. And the reality is, and you'll find this with any market, any kind of job title, job position, there's always going to be commonalities around personas. So, marketing directors, marketing managers, and whatever at a B2B SaaS company, that persona, they will generally, like if you had like 5,000 of them, a lot of them are generally going to have commonalities about them, whether that's related to commonalities in terms of they have similar challenges, similar problems, things like that. There's a lot of commonalities, and this is applicable to any industry, basically, any type of company. Okay, so that's what persona based personalization is. It's really just identifying commonalities around a group of people that can be applicable to a large group of people. Okay, so yeah, so really what you want to do in terms of being able to apply this practically is as part of any kind of cold outreach preparation and strategy development is you want to be making sure you research your ideal client profile, understanding them, making sure you're really clear on your offering, its benefits, results, how it's different, all that kind of stuff. So when you're doing this, when you're developing and researching your ICP, your ideal client profile, you will then be able to see all the commonalities about them. Okay, all the things they got in common. And there's different ways you can do this research. I'm not going to dive into all of that. I mean, you've got ChatGPT, there's your own existing clients. You can go on Facebook groups, whatever, YouTube comments. There's heaps of stuff you can do. The point is that you do that research and identify the commonalities that exist in terms of their challenges, frustrations, struggles, pain points. the goals they want to achieve, the results they want to achieve, and all that for that specific persona. Okay. And then when you've identified and documented all of those, you will then be able to do persona based personalization. And that essentially just means making blanket statements that will generally ring true for a particular group of people. So it's really important to understand that persona-based personalization means you are then able to make blanket statements that will generally ring true for a particular group of people. Okay. So here's just a few examples here that are in italics. So we'll scroll down. So you can see here the one I've highlighted. This could be, this kind of blanket statement could be applicable to a lot of people, a lot of different kind of marketing directors, marketing managers, and stuff like that. But the main commonalities here that are being addressed is like that they've got social channels, Facebook and Instagram. So you could have a lot of companies where they have a Facebook channel, a Facebook page, Instagram page, then you could have the contacts at specific companies. So let's say marketing directors at B2B SaaS companies that have Facebook and Instagram pages. And then that's like a blanket statement that could be applicable to like literally thousands of marketing heads, for example. Okay, so that's what it means in terms of a blanket statement where there's like generally true commonalities. Okay, and here's another example of basically this is just like a tweak of this first one here. You just like noticed you work in marketing, but the rest of the blanket statement is literally the same. Another example here, this is regarding startups and funding. So, you could build a list of startups and you could, you know, startups that have achieved, Series A funding, Series B, C, D, whatever. And then this kind of blanket statement would apply to all of those, like literally. So it's very simple to apply and make sense of in that sense. Another way you can do it is what I call like pain or challenge based persona personalization. So what that means is you've identified a set of challenges and problems that this persona is probably going to have, and then in your blanket statement, you can just literally reference that challenge. So as you can see in this highlighted example, one of the biggest challenges I've noticed with early stage startups deal with is being able to achieve PMF, product market fit, so they can attract even more interest from investors. I mean, these are just examples that I literally thought of off the cuff, off the top of my head. But that's an example of like a challenge based blanket statement that would be applicable to a large group of people and a specific group of people. That's really important that it's relatable to a specific group of people. Okay, that's how persona-based personalization works. And here's another variation here. So it's like one of the biggest challenges marketing teams that CPG brands struggle with is blah 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 blah. You can read that. Okay, so a lot of marketing teams at CPG brands have this kind of challenge, and they're going to be able to relate to it. And it's a blanket statement that would be applicable to thousands of marketing teams at big CPG brands, for example. Okay, another way you can do it is like state or like geographic blanket statements. So you can see here, so you're okay, I'm going to connect more founders throughout state, whatever. That could be a blanket statement that you could use as a first line or an opening sentence, paragraph, or a cold email. You could use that in a LinkedIn connection message, okay, for example. So that's going to be a blanket statement based on a geographic location that's applicable to a large group of people. And here's another one. That also leverages that geographic targeting as well. So yeah, this is basically a pitch. This is a blanket statement that's making a pitch for an offer, direct pitch, but it's referencing specific location and exclusivity, and that's also going to be applicable to potentially hundreds, even thousands of contacts of pest control companies in a specific state. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so there's really different ways you can do it, but the main fundamental and principle to understand with persona based personalization so you can do this effectively is that there are commonalities that are going to generally ring true for a particular and specific group of people. And then it's just a matter of like essentially distilling those blanket statements into however you want to do it. So you can see these examples here. These aren't for the purpose of copying and pasting, it's to highlight a point as to how you would apply these blanket statements based around a persona and how you can personalize it. Okay, so this is a really good way to do it. You've got generally these here where you're noticing something about the person or the company. They're examples of blanket statements. And another example here is kind of the challenge pain based one. This is actually a real favorite of mine. I find works really well. If you're really clear on the challenges and the struggles that your persona has, this is a great way to open a cold email, for example, because you can essentially just lead in with the blanket statement, and then in the next sentence, basically state what your offer is and how it helps them. So it's like essentially overcomes the problem that you literally mentioned in the blanket statement. That's a really favorite of mine. And then the geographic one's another strategy here in terms of being able to apply persona-based personalization as a blanket statement. So that's essentially how it works, okay? Doesn't rely on AI. In my opinion, this is works better. Like again, these are based on my experiences. Okay, maybe you or other people might beg to differ, and they might say they had better results using elaborate AI prompts. That's totally fine. Everything I create and tell others about is just based on my personal experiences doing cold outreach, and in my experience this kind of personalization has worked better than using an AI tool that generates a personalized first line based on something about a company or a prospect's LinkedIn profile, for example. So yeah, that's just again been my experience. I find it's much faster to do as well and easier to apply. And the best thing about it is it can be done on a mass level at volume. Okay, but again, it just needs to be targeted, making sure it's like you're putting that in front of the right people, not just literally blasting it out in some scattergun approach. Okay, it needs to actually be relevant to the people you're reaching out to. So yeah, definitely try this out if you've never tried it out before. I find it works super well. And just, yeah, the main things to make sure this works well is to doing that target market research and understanding your ICP and stuff like that, really identifying those commonalities. And once you've identified those commonalities, it's going to be much easier to pack that together into a blanket statement that will be applicable to a specific and particular group of people that they can resonate with. It's going to get their attention. And yeah, that's what I found works the best. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully that helps. Definitely give this a go. See how it goes for you. If you got any questions, drop a comment. Let me know. I'm always doing my best to get back to comments as soon as possible, basically. And yeah, if you do like this video, please do like it, share it to anyone you think might get some value from it. If you want to see more videos on this channel and get notifications, not to miss anything when it comes out, do subscribe to the channel as well. And if you want more direct help from me personally, one-on-one, do feel free to contact me directly. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks again for your time, and stay tuned for the next video.